Welcome to Health Oddity, the show that strips away the jargon and hype surrounding all things health and fitness to help you live a long, strong and energetic life. Lining up at the bar this week, here's Peter Lant and James St. Pierre.
Hello and welcome to the Health Oddity podcast, episode 270. We are joined by a guest today who I've been mentioning for the last couple of episodes, but he is here with us today. We rescheduled and he's with us today. But first of all, I'm going to touch base with Mr. Peter Lant down in Bath in Somerset. It is raining here today in Essex, and we're really starting to feel, because if you're listening on the day of release, it's the 31st of October, so it's Halloween today, and it really is feeling more autumnal. I don't know how it is for you down there, Pete.
Wet. Yeah, we did a 10-miler yesterday with a group, and it was wet, and we all got wet. And then we went to there's a cafe place, Baths Off Cheese it's called. It's like a farm cafe and that. We went there for lunch afterwards. It was great.
Yeah,
we got very wet, but still, there was still 12 of us.
Yeah,
10-mile walk in the rain, so that's good, isn't it?
Excellent. No, that's good. It's just starting to rain outside again now, I can see today. But it's that time of year, isn't it? We have to do that. We are joined today by, like I say, I mentioned a couple of episodes, Mr. Theo Newton from Ultra Wellness, or on Instagram it's at ultrawellness.uk. How are you doing, Theo? You okay?
I am very well, thank you. Excited to be here, episode 270.
Excellent. Yeah, excellent. 270. So Theo Ultra Wellness UK is recently, I think it's probably been open for about 4 months now in Chelmsford in Essex. And they're kind of, what they do is it's optimal health and advanced recovery. And they offer lots of therapies and therapeutic modalities to help people improve their health and recover from injury. And we're going to be talking about a number of things today, which are really interesting, which we haven't spoke about before on the podcast. Things like cryotherapy chamber, hyperbaric oxygen therapy, localized cryotherapy, kind of red light and near infrared therapy, compression therapy, lots of stuff. And it's really interesting. And I know that lots of you listen, you may be like in America or Canada or Australia or across Europe. You're not local to where Theo is, but I'm sure that when we start talking about this kind of stuff, if you are in a town, there will be someone somewhere that offers this kind of therapy near you, and you will at least know a little bit more about it and what may be on offer. And you never know, down the line, Ultra Wellness may branch out and be opening other branches in other cities and things across the UK, maybe even across the world. So we'll see. But yeah, we're going to talk about that with Theo. But first of all, Theo, I mean, it'd be quite interesting, I think, to know, because this is a fairly new business for you, and you've been involved in the kind of the health and the fitness industry. So maybe if you can tell us a little bit about about yourself, really, and about I know you come from a kind of a personal training background and you've now moved into this. So maybe kind of why you got involved in the health, the fitness, the wellness industry in the first place, and then kind of maybe why you moved more into this kind of avenue rather than a standard kind of gym training kind of modality that you used to do before, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Be honoured to. Thanks for the introduction, by the way. That was actually the best I've ever heard anyone describe the clinic. I've never described it that well myself, so I'm definitely going to be taking that from you.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so essentially, really sporty kid growing up, did all the sports you can. I never was really into my health and stuff, though. I did sports because I enjoyed it. I never was a teenager obsessed with sort of taking care of myself, probably kind of the opposite, really. Coming out of secondary school, I really didn't know what to do with myself, and I was actually meant to go into the army. My plan was to be a paratrooper, and I was going to go to Harrogate College to become a paratrooper and go into the army. Just before I did, I got an opportunity to play football, not at a crazy level, but semi-decent, but I had to continue studying if I wanted to do that. And what I thought would be the easiest sort of thing for me to study was going to be a sports science degree. It was the only thing that I could see myself being interested in. And for me, it was more just like, I have to study, so get something done that looks like it's going to be easy, and see how the football goes. Completely fell out of love with the football, fell in love with the sports science stuff. The college that I went to was right next door to a leisure centre, and I went there for a bit, got into the training and stuff, sort of fell in love with the community. And yeah, it just clicked really. I'm sure you found the same when you entered the industry. You can't really fall out of it once you fall in love with it. It's a lovely world to be in. It's very positive. Yeah, sort of found a new version of myself that I really liked, and saw some potential in myself that was bigger than going into the army. I realised that I was just doing that because I didn't know what else to do. And then yeah, had someone recommend looking into training people, because I was so obsessed at that point with finding out more about my own training and things like that. I had an injury. During lockdown, we had a half gym in our garage, and me not knowing anything about it, but sort of liking getting a pump, I would go in there every day and just do bench press. Every day I did bench press for a couple of months, and as you can imagine, ruined my shoulder. And then from that, started looking into how I can help that to get better, and then fell in love with the anatomy side of things, because I was learning more about my body and stuff, and that's where it stemmed from. And then suddenly my obsession of anatomy turned into, well, I should actually help other people with this now, because I kind of know it all. So I should start sharing the knowledge and helping other people learn. And that got into personal training at that leisure centre that I was studying next to. Completely forgot about the football, forgot about the army, and now I was personal training. Started where you sort of can, where you're sort of doing a split with the gym, where you're working for the gym under their name. And then luckily at the leisure centre that I worked at, you could essentially change to self-employed, where you then pay them rent. So I fixed them out each month and build your own business. I scaled that over a couple of years. This was from probably 17, probably training a little bit before I was meant to be training people, up to 19, 20, and then kind of got that business to where I could, in terms of my time, still just exchanging money for time. So I was ready for the next thing. And my dad, who I have now opened the clinic with, he had retired for a few years, did his traveling, got a bit bored, and I could tell he was itching to get back into something. And he suffers from an autoimmune disease. So over the years, I've looked into a couple of these therapies for that sort of stuff anyway, because we do tend to help a lot of people with health conditions and inflammatory conditions, stuff like that. So I was looking into someone that already had the knowledge a little bit of this sort of thing. And then essentially looking into, like I say, I really knew that I wanted to get into the next level of business, do something bigger than what I was doing at the time. I really didn't want to go into online coaching. Even though it's kind of, I have to do it now a little bit, but social media in general, I just can't stand. I'm more of a happy person outside of social media. So I tried to sort of get rid of that out of my life. And
that's quite good to hear from a young person like yourself, because Pete and I are both, nearly 50 now. But to hear, so social media is kind of a bit of a necessary evil, if you want. If you're running a business, if you're running a community, if you're running a group, it's a good way to reach people and communicate with people. But I said to someone the other day, I think it was even this morning, I was training them. I said, if I didn't have to be on, Instagram and Facebook and all this for the business and for the podcast and things, I'd be much happier not to be, if I didn't have to. So that's really kind of refreshing to hear. To hear you say that,
No, I've always had to sort of weigh out the pros and cons. And when I had my personal training business, I would have reached the level with the business that I did get to a lot quicker if I decided to use social media. But I decided that it was a worthy sacrifice to actually remove that from my life and try and just get business through word of mouth and talking to people and introductions and just being chatty, because that was character development anyway. And I was so much happier, taking the long road, building the business without social media in my life, because it just, it ruins you. I've noticed such a big difference without it. I'm so much more present in my life and stuff like that. So but now leading into this business, to be honest, it is a necessary evil, like you say with yours. It's difficult. It is exciting. There is the ego attached to it when you get a video that does a few more views or does get that bit of attention. It is still exciting. And then you notice the ones that don't do well, they do get to you a bit. And then it's like, right, I'm back in this trap again. Get out of this. But,
is that kind of, what is it they talk about a lot now, is the kind of the dopamine addiction, isn't it?
Yeah, that is it.
Getting likes, getting shares, and you can't help but you get that little, this is doing well, but actually it's not it's not linked to anything in reality, is it? And a lot of the time it's not even linked to income, it's not linked to
Not at all.
it's
Not at
just
all.
like ego,
Yeah.
isn't it? You know,
We monitor. We really try our best to monitor our sources of clientele. So we try and sneak in the question somewhere how they heard about us during their visit. And even though we'll have videos that go out, I mean, we've had quite a few videos get like 10,000 views. We had one the other day, 13,000 views. Do really, really well. And even on local accounts, we did a collab with a local Chelmsford account, got 10,000 views. Pretty much, I think it's like 10% of people that have come in have said, yeah, I saw you on Instagram, or I saw you on this and that. So that dopamine I did get from those views meant nothing anyway. Have you noticed that quite a lot with the podcast? Like, have you been up and down and observed yourself thinking, oh, got a bit excited there for no reason, or?
yeah. Well, I mean, I think the biggest one I did, I've done a few videos on Instagram which have got like, or I think they go on Facebook as well. This is how bad I am at things. I think they go on Facebook as well. But two of my Facebook ones have had like 3 million sort of views and 2 million that really went like mad. And that was because I had friend of the show, Edith, was on one of them, and it was a really straightforward, like, can you do this? And it was getting down on the floor and getting back up. And it had like 3 million views and it went like everywhere. But it resulted in zero business, because it was because a lot of this just goes and people are seeing it like in America or Canada, or no one who's actually gonna come and join.
Yeah.
And then and also the things that get the more views is controversy, because then you have some people on it sort of like saying, oh, well, this is easy, everyone should be able to do this, and other people saying, you know, some people posting like nasty comments on there, and then you'd get so that all just fuels the kind of the viral nature, but it doesn't actually really lead to anything.
Especially for a local business. But even with the podcast, because you'll get a video that does really well, like the short clips, obviously, like you say, it's about that dopamine click people can get straight away. Someone's going to love that first 5 seconds, but it doesn't mean they're going to listen to the podcast for the next 3 years.
I mean, it's just we just, like you say, it's really, the podcast has just been building through word of mouth, through the kind of guests that we get on, through you know, people sharing it,
being really, really, really brilliant as well.
Through being really brilliant as well. But you know, so it's just we're certainly playing the long game, aren't we, Pete?
Oh yes.
five and a bit years later, we're playing the long game. So Theo, so you went into this this ultra wellness, this business, and I think, because I know I've spoke to your father about this as well before, over like a dinner and things, about things. And you're sat, I mean, if people are just listening, they can't see. If people are watching on YouTube, you've got like a really, I'm going to use a term that's going to age me. You're sat in front of a really swanky looking bit of kit, and it's kind of like that's the hyperbaric chamber behind you, and it looks really cool. It looks like a sort of some kind of time machine or space pod or something. But I know that, I think you said to me before that when I came in, because I've been in to see you for a couple of treatments of local cryotherapy on my wrist, which is getting better, and I'm going to be in again in the next few days to see you. But something like that hyperbaric chamber, I know you spent a lot of time going to like different countries and really researching the best equipment that you could get, because you said to me that the hyperbaric thing, it used to be you'd have to lay on a tube and go in almost like into like a CAT scan or like an MRI scan thing that was really claustrophobic. And now people can sit in there, and you've got a TV in there that we can see, but also people could sit in there on their laptops and be doing some work and all the rest of it. So I suppose what would be really good is, so talk to us a little bit before we go into each therapy, like the stuff that you've got in there is some really serious kit, you know, that you've researched a lot to get it. So what was that process like, going around and trying to kind of look at the different suppliers and the different types of equipment that you got? I mean, did you know what you were looking for before you opened, or did you kind of research all this and find stuff out along the way?
Honestly, not really. It was such a learning curve, the whole thing. We actually originally, we wanted to start some sort of business. That's actually where it started, to be honest. We knew we wanted to start a business. If we were lucky, it would be in health and wellness, because that's what I'm obsessed with, and it's what my dad was sort of leaning a bit more in towards during his retirement, he was starting to look after himself a bit more. So yeah, if we were lucky, it was going to be that. If not, we looked into all sorts, to be honest. We looked at coffee shops, we looked at barber shops, we looked at everything you can. And then we got into the idea of small group personal training, funnily enough, which, yeah, that's a hefty business to get into. You got to be the best if you're going to do well, as you know. And then we originally liked the idea of having a small group personal training with a bit of something extra, a bit of added value. And we were thinking about the cryotherapy. That was originally actually just the idea. We were just going to have cryotherapy involved. And then the more that we went around looking at the different companies that offer the different technologies, the different cryotherapy chambers, etc., we started learning more about the other stuff they offer. Obviously, meeting a lot of salesmen that want to sell you the other stuff that they do. And fell in love with a lot of it, to be honest. We noticed trends in terms of different countries, how far forward they are from us in terms of these sort of technologies and people looking after themselves. You notice it's kind of like certain states in America and especially the Scandinavian areas are roughly like 5 to 7 years in front of the UK in terms of like wellness technologies and the versions of the technology. And so, yeah, we did our digging into that and noticed that it's roughly that time frame now that the UK should be starting to sort of tag along with the stuff that these countries and these cities are getting involved in. So we went to, it was Finland that did it for us. We went to Finland and saw a company called CTN, which is where all of our equipment's from. And we originally went there to just look at the cryotherapy chamber. And then they basically educated us all about the red light therapy, the injury treatment stuff, and the hyperbaric oxygen. We did know a little bit about the hyperbaric oxygen before, but as you said, it was essentially like a coffin that you would lay in. It's not a nice comparison to say it's a coffin, but it was literally a tube that you lay in. And for us, we're all about customer experience, and that's not a nice customer experience. So we weren't even going to bother with hyperbaric oxygen. And then we saw this and absolutely fell in love and realized that although you can get some of these therapies in the UK, none of them yet are at this standard, and they're not accessible yet unless it's to the absolute elites or the big celebrities, people like that. So we thought, perfect time now, get ahead of the game, bring it to, commercialize it, make it accessible to the people, and do it at a level where it's kind of luxury, but it's also not. Anyone can come down. We're for the people, but it's a nice experience. And yeah, that's how we sort of found out about it. It wasn't originally that we had all the ideas. I knew all about it. It was more that actually we liked the idea of cryotherapy. I was already super into my health and wellness. So then when the other salesmen got us into this stuff, we just fell in love with it.
So it's like you went in to buy like one cryotherapy unit, and you came out with like
with a clinic,
get a loaf of
basically.
bread and came back with a business.
Yeah, but it's great.
Good salesman.
It's great because from I've been into the clinic, and it's got like a really nice feel to it. It's got like a kind of, like you say, it's like you're walking into, it's a nice space you're walking into. It's like almost like you're walking into a really lovely, like a really nice hairdressers or a really nice cafe or a really nice restaurant. When you walk through the door, you just get that kind of feeling about that feeling of quality and cleanliness, and just everything's very sleek. Everything's very kind of scientific, very professional, but also kind of not cold and clinical, kind of friendly as well. So so let's look at these therapies then. Like you say, you went along. So cryotherapy was the first. So like I say, people, everyone's probably on. I'm going to say everyone. Lots of people have heard of cryotherapy, and they know it's to do with getting cold. Basically, is what kind of people would maybe think about. And I know that. I mean, there's a lot of things around. Cold showers, ice tubs, that kind of thing, where you go, which I go in myself, where you go in and your whole body gets cold, but you get wet as well. Now, the cryotherapy, what is it, first of all? And obviously I don't want to go like ultra, we kind of just want the big picture of what it is, right? Don't need to go too scientific for the listeners, but kind of what is cryotherapy and kind of what is it good for, really?
I think cryotherapy, the word itself, it's describing, like you say, super cold, to not be too sciencey. With our chamber, we essentially, it's a short period of time. It's a really short period of time. Ours is maximum 4 minutes, but you're stepping inside of a chamber it's a lot colder than a sort of an ice bath that you're going to get to, because we're sitting at around minus 160 degrees in the chamber we're sitting in. You're not going to get an ice bath that's at minus 160.
So is that minus 160 what C, is it, or
yeah
okay.
Yeah, so super cold, essentially, while you're in there, your body can't, the difference between this and like an ice bath is that obviously...
Pete's pulling some faces. I don't know what he thinks about being minus 160.
Come and give it a go, Pete.
I'm going to see if I can get my shower to do that. Just stand in that.
So minus, okay.
So yeah, essentially, it's not, because we're not stepping in water. First of all, we can get the skin to a much lower temperature because we're not getting the skin wet, so we're not damaging the skin. Until now, these cryotherapy chambers have been mainly just nitrogen based, which has some danger to it actually, which is why when we saw this electric one that can go to an even more extreme temperature than nitrogen, we just fell in love with it. But essentially, while you're in there, our chamber has fans inside. They've got 6 fans, and the fans all have sensors that are sensing each different body part. So we're looking to see what parts of your body are the most inflamed, what are the highest temperatures, and what's taking the longest to get down, because we set a goal of what we want to get your body down to in each different body part. Once one body part gets down to the temperature that we want to do, we've decided it's most optimal for that individual's recovery, then it will tick off on the screen. The silhouette of your body comes up on the screen, you see it in front of you, and it will stop prioritizing that area. And basically you're finished when each part of your body has got down to the temperature we want you at. Essentially, the benefit is that your body goes into, well, first of all, in terms of being different from a cold bath or shower, is that your body can't form that thermal layer because it's constant cold air blowing onto it rather than getting comfortable and getting still in that position. And the idea is that your body kind of goes into fight or flight. So really sort of a short period of time, so it's not dangerous. We go into survival mode. And essentially what happens is our body sends our blood into our vital organs to protect ourselves because it thinks we're out in the Arctic trying to survive or wherever we are. And what we've noticed is actually the benefit is not while you're in there really, although there is a lot of benefit in terms of endorphins, adrenaline, things like that. Actually, when you get out for the next 24 hours is when the real work happens, because we found that the body redistributes your blood, but it redistributes it first for the most inflamed areas, which is essentially the main attraction because it helps us address large issues in the body. And as you probably know, a lot of issues in the body on a large spectrum can be tracked down to inflammation of some sort or another. So if we're addressing that by sending the blood to those areas first, now that have been back to our organs to gather fresh oxygen, fresh nutrients, etc., and now flooding those, enriching those inflamed areas with fresh blood, we've found great benefit from that in terms of larger injuries, people with skin conditions, and then there's a bunch of other benefits people tend to get from it. So people actually come in for their sleep as well. I think because it's such a shock to the system during the day, in the evening time, the body gets such a good rest. It's good for adrenaline management. It's good for resting heart rate. So many things it's good for. But yeah, essentially addressing inflammation in the body is kind of the main attraction and how we describe it.
I think you don't go in there. Your head doesn't go in, does it? You go in kind of up to your
from the
head,
neck down.
from the neck down. Yeah. Okay. And then, and do you feel, I mean, I'll have to, because I've only done the local one with you. I'll have to actually have a go of the whole body one. But do you feel like, is it uncomfortably cold when you're in there? Do you know what I mean? I mean, do people, do people struggle to be in there for 4 minutes or?
No, so essentially in terms of the time, we max out at 4 minutes, but everyone is slightly different because it depends how long it takes that individual to get down to the temperature we want them at, essentially, because we're monitoring the skin temperature. And if individuals, this is the reason the technology is a bit more advanced now, because before with the nitrogen chambers, it was basically a pretty cold chamber that you go and step inside of for an exact period of time. But everyone's so different. Everyone has different levels of inflammation. Everyone has different amounts of flesh that's going to take longer to get down. Some people have larger muscle mass, so everyone's so different. But yeah, maximum 4 minutes, depends on the individual. But we haven't actually had, I think for the 4 months we've been open, and plenty of people that have been in there, probably 2 people that have stepped out before the actual session's finished. So although that you do get a reaction, people are in there like, oh wow, apart from the odd few people trying to tough it out, you do get a reaction, but no one really gives up. It's not too much for you. And once you step out, because it's not like stepping out of an ice bath where your skin's all wet and it's quite uncomfortable, you step out feeling amazing. So everyone that does it, they want to do it again, even if they found the first minute or so like quite shocking, because it is a shock to the system. It's a different experience. But we've noticed, I mean, we're learning as we're going as well, in terms of making the experience more comfortable for people. And what we've noticed is we have the best opportunity of someone staying in there and doing well if we say to them beforehand, right, when it kicks in, it's going to take your breath away. So straight away when you get in, get some deep breaths going and control that before it controls your breath. And that has changed the game, I think, because not saying that at the start people don't expect it, and if it takes your breath away, then it's a shock, and it's like, oh wow. But if you're told that's going to happen, and you can monitor it, then yeah, if you we don't tell people like, no, you're going to be fine, you're going to be fine, it's going to be easy. No, it's going to be tough, it's going to be a shock to the system, but you're going to be fine and enjoy it, and people do.
Because I think you're in there with them while they're doing it, aren't you? You're in the room.
Not in the chamber.
No, you're not in the chamber. No.
I don't know what you think we do here, James.
You'll be in there all day, every day.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
that would be really uncomfortable to stand there. Hello, how are you?
No, I mean, because it's a room, obviously, with the chamber in it. And
yeah, no,
they're
we're
in the
there,
chamber, but you're in there in the room talking.
Exactly. It really
process.
helps having someone talk you through it. Yeah, essentially. Yeah. And we also describe what's happening during the session. It's good to be distracted because it is cold. So it's good to be distracted, and we basically describe what's happening and what we're monitoring on the screen, because when you're in there, a silhouette of your body comes up on the screen, and we're looking at the different temperatures of the different parts of your body, and we've got a goal temperature in mind. It's telling us the temperature, and it's telling us the resistance, and it's telling us when it ticks off. So we're basically just describing to the individual what's happening during that period, making sure they're okay, getting their breathing regulated, just giving them some tips while they're in there, telling them they're doing well, and describing what people like to see, what's happening to their body while they're in there, and really know what they're getting out of it, really. Because it's a quick experience. It is a really quick experience, but when you leave, you feel amazing.
It almost sounds like it's kind of like a reset button, where if there's inflammation in the body, your body, but like in every general day-to-day life, it's kind of like just
so this is the game changer with training, really, because I mean, we do get people in there for health conditions and larger issues like injuries and stuff, but especially with the cryotherapy chamber, for athletes, it's such a big thing. We've been having the Chelmsford City football players coming in to do the chamber as well, because essentially, especially with high level athletes, obviously they're training week in, week out, but they don't know if they're going into the next week of training with a full, fresh body. They might actually be digressing a little bit. Their knowledge of the game might be going up, but their body is taking a beating. And that ends up in burnout and accumulative fatigue. But if you're having a reset button every week or even every couple of weeks, then your progress is exponential, and you're actually going into sessions with a fresh body and actually benefiting from the sessions as much as you can be. So that is such a big thing now, especially we can track where the inflammation is, etc., and address it.
Yeah, because from what you've said, it sounds like it just says, right, this is the place that needs, I don't know, blood to go to it to make it feel better and like better blood flow, and that's where we're going to go first. Where it wouldn't necessarily happen if you didn't have the cryotherapy. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Perfect.
Excellent. This is really, really, really good. So, Pete, next time you're down in Chelmsford with me, you'll definitely have to go along and have a go.
We'll get in there together, James. We'll get a picture.
Face to face. That'll make a good thumbnail.
Okay. Excellent. So, so the cryotherapy chamber. And then so again, like I say, people might not necessarily, if they're in other countries, be able to come and see you, but this is giving people information that they can look for, because there will be, like you say, the UK is, because like you say, opening a kind of a personal training studio or a small group training studio or something, there is a barrier to entry there, definitely. But what you've set up there's a far more of a barrier to entry because of the sheer amount of investment that you must have to put in to start up something like you've got there, and the expertise and the fact that where you've sourced all the stuff from. So I think it's fantastic. And also a lot of the gyms and sports clubs and everything, you can facilitate all of them, and you can tap in. So we could, like you say, I'm going to set up a thing with Unique Results to promote to my members, to encourage them to come down and see you. And so you've created kind of a hub that lots of people can use.
Exactly. That from a business perspective. From a business perspective, I mean, we could have, if we set up a personal training studio, I mean, Chelmsford is full to the brim of gyms and sports clubs. We would have been coming here and starting a competition. We would have come here to compete. Whereas instead we thought, why don't we come here for all the people that are competing against each other and be someone for everyone? There's no one else like this. And we can facilitate, instead of thinking, right, there's so many gyms in this area, how can we compete with them? It's like, hang on, there's so many gyms in this area. How can we be here for them and get custom from them? They've got our demographic in their hand. So instead of trying to steal them off of them, let's both benefit them. So that was a thought process behind it.
Yeah, it's great. No, really good idea. And so the chamber, the cryotherapy chamber, you go in and it basically does your whole body from the neck down, like you said. Now you've also got local cryotherapy, which is something that I've done with you, which is, I presume, where you have a specific injury or pain point or whatever, and then you can really just give sort of targeted local cryotherapy to a specific area. So whereas cryotherapy, the chamber, is more like a whole system holistic therapy that kind of blasts your whole body, and it can be used for like you say, for injury, but also for health and for performance. I presume the local cryotherapy is far more for dealing with specific injuries or ailments on certain parts of the body. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. To be honest, smaller areas. If we had someone and they're suffering with their whole back, I'd have them in the cryotherapy chamber. Whereas, we do shoulders, elbows, knees, ankles, certain joints, tendons, ligaments. We'll do that in the local cryotherapy injury treatment, essentially, because we don't need to do the whole body really, and we can also get to an even more extreme temperature because we're not shocking the whole system, and we don't have to be too careful what temperature we get to when it's just a smaller area like a joint. So essentially the idea with this is it's reducing inflammation, but what we're doing is, because of the extreme temperature, essentially we can go to a more extreme temperature than an ice pack because we are not getting the skin wet. This is all cold air, it's fully electric. We can surround the joint, and we essentially are taking all the blood away from that area momentarily. So we're restricting the blood vessels, and this is going to take away the inflammation and pain temporarily. So people who come in, say they want to do a one-off session, they can do this, and it will give them a temporary reduction of pain and inflammation. And then we obviously do packages and courses where people come in for quite a few to make actual progress on their injuries, because once we take the blood away from that area and reduce the inflammation, similar idea with the chamber, but we're essentially, the blood's going to then go back into that area with fresh oxygen. And after a few sessions, the body's basically signaled there's a problem there, and it ends up sending enzymes with healing properties and speeding up recovery, essentially. So we have a lot of people, injuries. We have post-operation, because it's really good for speeding up recovery from that sort of thing as well. Any just small amounts of pain in areas, inflammation, things like that.
Excellent. That's really good. And then I suppose we'll talk. So we've dealt with the kind of the cryotherapy stuff. So I suppose next, if we look at the big machine behind you, this thing, this big thing, So hyperbaric oxygen therapy or hyperbaric chambers. Like, I mean, I'm sure most people have heard of it, and I think I might remember hearing about it years ago. You might remember this, Pete, like 20 or 30 years ago, like when they used to say, like, someone like, I don't know if it's Michael Jackson, that's in my head, but like Michael Jackson used to sleep in like a hyperbaric chamber or so, or you get these wacky kind of celebs who they say they sleep in this hyperbaric chamber, and it was like everyone thought it was like, I'm sure it was Michael Jackson. Do you remember, Pete?
It was. We've had so many. I didn't even know this, but we've had so many people come in, and people either say they've heard of it because of it was originally for divers to avoid the bends, getting the bends when they come out from a deep sea dive, and then we also get a lot of people. Is that the thing that Michael Jackson used to sleep in?
So there's like I say,
there's also a one in License to Kill, the James Bond film, but we'll not talk about that.
Oh, okay. James Bond, okay. Timothy Dalton.
But they use it to basically blow someone up.
We have a slightly different approach.
So, but I didn't want to scare anybody from going to Peter's place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, cheers, Peter.
Okay. So I think I'll have to rewatch that. I forgot that bit. Okay.
It's quite funny because they put the money in there and they blow the bloke up, and then they go, right, we need to launder the money now, which is quite funny. But anyway.
Okay. God, you've got a good memory, do we? So most people have heard of a hyperbaric chamber. But like the cryotherapy, most people might have heard of it but don't know really what it is. So what is the hyperbaric sort of oxygen therapy chamber that you've got behind you? What is it? What does it do? And kind of what is it good for, I suppose?
So essentially with hyperbaric oxygen, the goal is to increase the oxygen concentration in someone's tissues. Essentially, while you're inside, you're breathing in 93% oxygen as opposed to the 23% in our normal atmosphere, roughly. Which obviously has its benefits alone, having a higher concentration of oxygen, but at the same time, the chamber is pressurized. So we go to a certain pressure, and what it's shown to do is basically it micronizes the oxygen cells, and they can go a lot deeper into your plasma and into your tissues. So it's not just about increasing the concentration in your body, but we can get them really deep into tissues and actually generate new blood vessels. And again, general health benefits, we've got reduced inflammation. We basically have different amounts of time that people will spend inside. So we do 30, 60 or 90 minutes, and it depends why an individual's going in. We get people coming in for the general health benefits of having a higher concentration of oxygen in the body, which tends to be cognitive function. We got a lot of businessmen come in, they'll come in and sit on their laptop inside. We get people coming in for sports performance, people coming in before like a race or a marathon, etc. We've had people say they've taken off a few minutes off of times, which is really cool. We have people come in, so cognitive function, physical performance, sleep, energy, immune support, all that good stuff. Once you've got a higher concentration of oxygen, your body's firing on all cylinders. But we basically then have the 60 or 90 minute options, which is more for people coming in for a really specific purpose. We get a lot of people coming in for autoimmune diseases, inflammatory conditions. We get people coming in pre and post surgery for accelerated like cellular healing. We actually get quite a few cancer patients coming in pre or post radiotherapy, things like that, because it can actually enhance chances of survival of certain radiation therapies. And so the benefits they're endless, because like I say, once you've got a higher concentration of oxygen in your body, then it's going to address what needs addressing in your body. So there's not much it can't help with. But that's kind of it summed up really.
Yeah, and how often? I mean, how long does it last after you've been in there? You said like the cryotherapy, you go and then for the next 24 hours, there's some real changes that are going on in your body. If you come and say, for example, you sit in there for 60 minutes, and first of all, is it like you're getting all the benefits? You're not getting the benefits in the chamber from anything through the skin. It's all through how you breathe. You're breathing in this higher concentration oxygen, or how does it work?
So while you're inside, there is a mask to wear, and that's where you get the 93% oxygen from. There is the option to just not wear the mask, which we've not had anyone actually do, because it's not actually uncomfortable. It's quite nice because you can feel the oxygen coming out. But if you were to take the mask off, inside the chamber is still 40% oxygen in the atmosphere inside. So it's still double the normal atmosphere that we normally breathe in. And you could argue that, there's a small amount of absorption in the skin, but we don't really tap into that because it's so minuscule. I normally mention the oxygen inside the atmosphere anyway, in case someone is uncomfortable with wearing the mask. But like I say, it's quite nice actually feeling the oxygen come out and breathing it in. So everyone wears the mask, to be honest. But in terms of how long benefits last,
do people fall asleep in there? Do people fall asleep in there? Is it quite relaxing? Okay.
It depends. Half an hour, when you do the half an hour sessions, people come out and say, God, I was just about to fall asleep. And then when you do the hours, an hour and a half, if someone's in there to do work, then you're sort of locked in. But if you're in there to relax, some people use it to meditate or to get some rest, shut off from the outside world. Then I always feel bad waking them up at the end of the session. But it's super.
You sort of tap on the glass, kind of come on.
There's a telecom, there's a phone, and you kind of have to I'm really sorry, but it's over.
Excellent. Oh, that's great. That's interesting. That's very interesting because obviously, like when I don't know if it's a similar kind of thing, but when you get people who go like altitude training and things, and they go and they train at a high altitude, and then the body kind of gets used to lower oxygen at that altitude, and then when they come back down to sea level, they're kind of a lot more kind of energized and a lot more productive because they're then getting the benefit of more oxygen, I suppose, than what they're used to. Whereas,
to be honest, it's almost the opposite, really, because someone doing that, their body's going to be more efficient with the oxygen that they then can breathe in. If it's almost, I think it's called, it's like intermittent hypoxia. So it's like you're starving the cells of oxygen for a short period of time, so that when you do breathe it in again, its utilization is tenfold. Whereas with this, it's funny you say that. We had someone coming in here pre-marathon, I think, and their knowledge on this was actually a lot higher than mine was. But they were in there and they were holding their breath for as long as they can, and then for a couple of minutes taking as deep breath as they possibly can with the 93% oxygen, and then again holding for as long as they can. And that, like I said, that's called intermittent hypoxia, and basically your utilization of the oxygen in your cells becomes so much higher, and so does the concentration of oxygen in your plasma. That when he then went and did whatever the marathon was, he said he thinks it really helps in terms of VO2 max and lactic acid build up, things like that. So for performance, it's huge.
Wow, interesting.
Truthfully though, we actually, when we first set up, we thought our demographic was going to be 60% performance, so 60% athletes, people from the gym, sports clubs, football players, rugby players, whatever sport. There's obviously every sport, and you can imagine in Chelmsford. But it's been a big learning curve. Obviously, with a business like this, it's so new in terms of the idea behind it that you can't just go and copy another business. If you're opening a coffee shop or whatever, you know the demographic, you know what to sell, you can copy the other people's opening times or whatever. But with us, it's learning as we go. And what we've actually found is our whole marketing has completely switched, because even though this stuff is so big on performance, 60 to 70% of our demographic is actually people with health conditions. It's people with health conditions, or they're suffering with pain, inflammation, and they're so sick of NHS wait lists, and they're so sick of being told the only option is to take these tablets and they've got 10 side effects and this is probably going to happen. And they're looking at a more holistic approach, and they're doing their research, and this stuff's popping up, and they're looking at where they can do it, and here we are.
For me, it sounds like as well, like say you've got an injury somewhere, you've got a sore wrist or ankle or knee or whatever, and you go and see a physio, chiropractor, osteopath, any one of those sorts of people. And you could see one of them, you could see 10 of them, you'll get a different diagnosis from each one, or you might get 5 of them will say this and then the other 5 will say something completely different. Not saying that anyone's right or wrong or anything like that, you know what I mean? But it's all quite subjective based on the person. Some people just treat a condition, and I've got a sore knee, so they'll go to your knee. Other people treat the person and they're like, right, what's your lifestyle like, and blah, blah, and all that. But it sounds like with this, it kind of does it for you. To
be honest, whatever the answer is,
sort of assesses the person without you having to do it. You just go in there and it'll figure you out.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I've not really had to be much of a salesman, because whatever your issue is that you're coming in here for, I can point you to the right direction in terms of which therapy. But whatever the issue is, like you say, you might have 3 different physios say it's this, no, it's this, no, it's this. But we can say, well, whatever it is, this is going to help. Whichever one of those 3 it is, this is going to help. So it's like, screw those guys, do this.
And the thing is, as a new business, it'll be difficult to convince people of that, I think. But after a while, once you've got a stream of people who are saying it's really helped me and it's worked, and I've done this and I've done this and I've been here and I've tried everything, and then I tried this and it's worked. I mean, then that sounds brilliant. I'm going to come down just to go in it.
You're more than welcome. Yes, it's good as well. The reason that is a big benefit to us is because legally we have to actually be really careful of what we can advise. No matter how knowledgeable we are, no matter what courses I do or training I undergo, we are not a hospital or a doctor's. I am not a doctor. We are not a place that conducts medicine. So we actually, we legally have to be according to the advertising standards. We've got to be really careful of what we can advise. I can't actually say to someone, you've got this condition, you need to do this for this amount of time. I can't even suggest really frequency or timings. I've got to be really careful with how I word it. But what people are doing is they're really doing their own research, which is amazing, because when you look this stuff up, you look these therapies up, you can't really argue against them. I can say to people, honestly, you can listen to me all day, tell you it's going to be amazing, but obviously I'm going to say that because I'm trying to sell it. Go and look it up and you'll see it for yourself. And people are, and they're loving it. So it's good.
Yeah, excellent. So what we'll do next then, let's just talk, because what we'll do, I really appreciate your time today. It's been really interesting, actually. And now let's maybe talk about these light therapies, because this is something, again, and all of this stuff is really it's really becoming popular now, and that's what I mean. Lots of people will have seen or heard, either celebrities or professional sports people doing this kind of thing, and especially with the whole kind of sort of longevity movement and biohacking and all that stuff that's so kind of prevalent now. Because you've got like a room which has got, I think it's like a red light and a near infrared therapy, and it looks very much like an old-fashioned tanning bed, like a sunbed that people will know what they kind of look like. So what's kind of, what's the kind of the light, the red light and the near infrared therapy? How does that work, or what's that good for? Yeah.
It's interesting something you touched on there, because I was actually excited to talk to Peter about this, because I looked at Peter's stuff and I see that you're quite into the natural side of things, holistic, being outdoors, that sort of thing. And although all of this stuff looks so intimidating and people are so apprehensive because it looks like the most crazy technology ever, stripped to its core, this stuff is really just harnessing nature's power, but mixing it with the technology that we have now. So it's kind of, that's a beautiful way I like to describe it, is because although it looks so intimidating and it does use the technology we have now, it's still just harnessing nature's power. For example, oxygen, extreme cold, and this next one you're talking about, so the light therapy, we've got red light and near infrared. And essentially, we're taking the two beneficial rays of light that the sun emits, red light and near infrared, and we're leaving out the harmful UV ones. And what it's doing essentially is activating more energy production in the cells. And obviously, once your cells have more energy for your biological processes, there's not much it can't help with. But we have people coming in to do it for reducing inflammation, sports recovery, thyroid, hormone support, testosterone. We get a lot of people coming in for sleep, because once you sort of expose your body to the rays of light that the sun emits during the day, then it really helps with that sleep rhythm, because in the evening your body helps promote those and produce those sleeping hormones. So it's really helping people with their sleep, people with skin issues. There's a long old list. Again, once we have more energy in the cells, ATP production, then there's not much it can't help with. It tends to address an individual's issues of what they're experiencing. But again, we have a lot of people that are just kind of looking up their condition and being advised by their research to try something like red light therapy, and then they come to us and we can help.
So from my tiny bit of knowledge about this, it's about the wavelength, isn't it? So you've got red light and then near infrared light, and one of them goes deeper than the other, doesn't it, into the tissue?
So near infrared. So near infrared basically penetrates the skin a little bit deeper. I think it's roughly 6 millimeters. Not that really means anything, but these are still non-invasive therapies. That's the thing about our stuff, is all of it's non-invasive. So we're not damaging any tissue. None of it's stuff where you couldn't do and then go to the gym, etc. Because like I say, we're not damaging any tissue, but we are penetrating the skin with light. Red light therapy has its benefits alone, but then mixed with the near infrared, that's when we get a little bit deeper into the skin, and it allows for increased circulation, a much higher reduction of inflammation.
So
this will be the thing as well, especially if people aren't outside a lot and they work in an office or they work at home. Or they wear factor 50 every time they go out or whatever. And it's like, this is a big thing now, isn't it? You know, everyone's wearing too much sun cream and then you shouldn't wear any. And it's like, well, the sun's rays are harmful as well. So it's like,
especially in the UK, especially that's why we're so excited to bring it here, because obviously we don't get enough sun, and there's so many health reasons for that. But there's also the mental health side of things, which I'm excited to sort of market during this now horrible weather period. And I notice it in people's mood shifts so immensely. And people are down, and this sort of thing, and you can look at it from a health perspective of, once you're exposing your body to these rays of light during the day, there's research that suggests that it's a massive combating therapy for things like SAD, like seasonal affective disorder, mental health disorders, and anything that comes from not getting enough sunlight, essentially.
Where does vitamin D come from? What wavelength is that? Is that because, like, obviously you go out in the sun, you get vitamin D, but is that a red, or I don't know.
We haven't. Our research doesn't show that our therapy here is big for vitamin D production. No, but that's not something that we can market, really.
No, I mean, that's fair. I mean, obviously you get vitamin D from the sun, but like it must be from one of the wavelengths or several of them.
I think it's not really that a wavelength kind of forces vitamin D into you. It's more actually that your body responds to the wavelengths and can produce vitamin D better because of other support through hormones, etc. Our production becomes more, our general vitamin production and regulation becomes more productive and fluent when we are doing what we're supposed to do. Things like getting sunlight.
No, that's the thing. Just because, like, obviously you mentioned SAD, and it's like people are happier in the summer because the sun's out, and then they're not in the winter. But if yours helps with that, it doesn't matter whether it's producing vitamin D or not. If it helps with that, that's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I've just done a quick search to see, how do we get vitamin D from the sun? And vitamin D is the sunshine vitamin that has been produced on this earth for more than 500 million years. During exposure to sunlight, 7 dehydrocholesterol in the skin absorbs UVB radiation
Right.
and is
What was that?
converted.
D-high cholesterol.
So dehydrocholesterol in the skin absorbs UVB radiation and is converted to pre-vitamin D3, which in turn isomerizes into vitamin D3. So like you say, you get the exposure from the UVB radiation and then you convert it in the skin. Yeah. Interesting.
So that's where if you wear sunscreen, which will cut out UV A and B, probably that's so you know, and that's not saying to everyone go and stand in the sun and burn, but like you need some exposure without
shielding it.
There's a lot of different sort of trends now in terms of the health industry, like different diets and cutting out all processed food, seed oils, things like that. I saw this one family online talking about how, I don't know how true this is, but they believe that the reason we actually burn is because of how processed our diet is. We are meant to be in the sun. So people were talking about, basically they were saying that the amount of seed oils we consume and chemicals we consume through our skin, through shampoos, etc., and like I say, all the food we eat, they're arguing that that's actually what causes our skin to react badly to the sun. And their whole argument was that they haven't worn sunscreen ever. They're a very white family. And since they completely cut out seed oils and chemicals from their diet and what they consume through their skin, they have never had to wear sunscreen again. And they can spend as much time as they like out in the sun without burning, which is an interesting idea, I guess.
Well, I don't eat seed oils, and I go out in the sun, and parts of me go brown, and the bits that I've never seen the sun go very, very red.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's the thing. Okay. I think it's the extremes, isn't it? Like, I think like you say, I think if you go out and because I think you only really need like 20 to 30 minutes a day, of like good, and this is the thing. I presume in your in the kind of the sun bed, which it's not a sun bed, but the red light and near infrared light therapy bed. I presume you go on there kind of like naked or near naked, do you?
Yeah, the more skin we can expose, the better. That's another misconception actually, is that say someone's doing it for a certain reason, they might have some lower back issues actually. We actually do get people with injuries do that instead of the cryotherapy. They might have looked up why it's good for inflammation and go in there for that. They might think that they only need to expose their lower back to the red light therapy, but it's not actually the case. The more skin we can expose to that light, the better the whole body's going to absorb it, and the better the whole body can then increase its circulation, reduce its inflammation, carry out its processes. So yeah, it's not a targeted therapy really, although you see a lot of people doing it on the face for aesthetics and skin stuff. But yeah, once the whole body can absorb it. So yeah, we get in there and we expose as much skin as we can, but we tend to say underwear stays on for hygiene reasons.
No, because I think that's the thing. Like we say, there's 20 to 30 minutes of direct sunlight a day, but the more of your skin that you can expose to the sun, the better. So if you've got long sleeves and long trousers on, and you've literally just and you're wearing a cap, for example, and you literally just got like just this area, but if you've got like a vest on or shorts, so the more of your skin that you can expose to the sun, the better. But again, within moderation, like people have to be sensible, and you build up. That's why at the end of the day, why people in the world have got different skin colors, isn't it? The people in the hottest and the hottest areas are darker, and the people in the coldest areas are whiter. You don't get exposed to as much. You don't need to have that melanin and everything built up in your skin.
I've got that on my body. My arms are brown and the rest of me is white. My arms and legs are brown. My face is a bit red and the rest of me is like pasty white. So even to the point where my feet are, because I don't wear flip-flops or anything like that. So I end up with a sock mark.
Yeah.
So you're right. I'm like 3 different colors.
You've got a 365-day selective tan. And then the other thing, I suppose, you touched on it just then. If we could just mention maybe that the specific, like the LED, the Cryo-Mask that I tried last time I came in, and you said that's like a specific targeted therapy for the face that does look like a kind of a mask that you wear, and it also really cools you down. And you mentioned it to me, and it's very true that if anyone's used to going snowboarding or skiing and you're going downhill fast and you've got the ice cold air blowing into your face, it very much kind of feels like that. But that was only, I think, like a 2-minute therapy that I
Yeah,
did
only 2 minutes.
on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do people use that for, and what do you use that for?
So the mask is 2 therapies combined into one. It's blue light therapy and it's cryotherapy are both integrated. So again, touching on the cold therapy side of things, much less extreme because the skin on the face is a lot more sensitive. So we don't need to go to, there's not as much flesh around. We don't need to go to as much extreme temperature on the face essentially. So it's a less extreme temperature, but it still feels a little bit intense, but it's super nice. Essentially, the blue light therapy, that's kind of integrated for more of an aesthetic thing, really good for fine lines, wrinkles, removing bacteria from the face, collagen production, things like that. And then the cryotherapy basically helps reduce inflammation essentially, because, and obviously it feels amazing as well. It's a really therapeutic treatment, but essentially it can restrict the blood vessels momentarily in the face. So yeah, taking away inflammation, which again, are really good for aesthetics, puffiness, redness, things like that. But then also, we found it's really good for headaches and migraines. We originally actually added this therapy to our treatments to add sort of like a beauty demographic. So just add an extra sort of reason for some people to come in, and every time someone comes in for something, they find out about the rest and they fall in love with it. So any reason we can get someone through the door, really. So we added that for more of a beauty demographic, an entry level treatment even, because it's only 2 minutes long and we've made it super affordable. But what we've found actually, in terms of the people using it, is mainly headaches and migraines people coming in for, and hangovers actually. We get a lot of people coming for hangovers. But something interesting.
Every Sunday morning.
Yeah. I think we're going to start a hangover membership, which is just the mask. But essentially, after we'd already added the treatment for that purpose, the manufacturers of the equipment, they conduct their own research, which is really cool. And a study they brought out on the cryotherapy mask is that 2 minutes of this treatment prior to performance can increase cardiovascular performance by 13%. And essentially, and that sounds ridiculous, and I thought the same. And I got them to send me the study, and essentially, it's really interesting. You know how with exercise, our body has certain outlets to tell yourself you're done before you're actually done, to keep yourself safe. But you never really actually reach your biological limits, but your body has to keep you safe and your muscles not from ripping off your tendons, etc. One of our outlets is heat, and one of our heat outlets is our face. If we can reduce the baseline temperature of your face prior to performance, it's therefore going to take longer for your face to get to the temperature that your body then thinks it's done cardiovascular wise, which is really interesting. And I thought that was pretty cool because, again, we added that for like a beauty demographic, and it's turned out now we can actually use it for some performance stuff as well, which is really cool. But
that
yeah,
actually makes
wrinkles.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because, like you say, people stop. Like, I think what you're saying is, isn't it, that most people, everybody, really stops because they think they've had enough, or because psychologically they've had enough, or because it gets too uncomfortable. They stop before they actually physically have to stop because they're exhausted or whatever. And that kind of feeling too hot, I'm overheating, causes people to stop because they feel that uncomfortable. Whereas if you're starting from a chill, you're starting from a chilled perspective, a chilled sort of place, it's taking longer to feel overheated. So that does actually make, the way you've explained it, because when you first said it, I thought, wow, how on earth does that work? But that
same. I thought load of rubbish, no way.
Yeah. Brilliant.
But the migraine thing would be interesting as well, because like Claire Booth talks about it a lot, doesn't she? She used to get migraines. I've only had like 2 migraines my entire life, but I used to, and I still do, but I haven't had one for about a year, get ocular migraines, but I don't get the headache. But I'll get confused for like 45 minutes and I can't string a sentence together, and then I'll be knackered for the rest of the day. So it's I don't know what it could be, muscle tightness down here affecting how my eye works or something, and I get the aura. But that's it. Like the migraine thing would be massive because nobody knows why you get them.
There can be so many reasons why someone's getting them. It could be a muscle, or it could be a hormone, or there's so many reasons. So it's like, there's almost no point trying to address where it's from unless it's really serious.
No, exactly. This is the thing. But if it helps people with that, I'm fascinated by things that you can't explain. They're not doing you any harm, but they're helping with something, but you don't know why. But it doesn't matter. Like, really, as long as it helps. You know what I mean? And then you can find out why.
We do. Yeah, we 100%. We get a lot of people that will come in, and I will explain the therapy that we think is best for them as in depth as I possibly can. But you can see that they're not really listening. They don't really care. They just want to see if it helps them. And then it does. And they don't bother asking again what it did for them, but they know it helped, so they come back.
Yeah. I think that's great.
No, this has been really interesting. I tell you what, because before we started recording, wouldn't it, like, Theo, you're a bit like, what? I don't know what we're going to talk about or how long we're going to be able to talk for, but it's so interesting.
Me and James are like a couple of 5-year-olds. Like, how does this work? How does that work? What happens if I press this button here? Why is that
Yeah, no, it's a learning curve for me as well. Yeah, first podcast. I'm enjoying it though. That's why I thought surely they will have some notes or something, like some topics of discussion. But then obviously when you come in before, even just you and I ended up talking for probably longer than we should have. So there's always a million things to talk about. It's
always, like you said, we had Brett on talking about natural deodorant, and we were talking about for like nearly an hour about that. So yeah, it's as soon as you start.
And now we're both very good customers of his.
Yeah, now we
may get some more.
He was just doing an hour-long sales pitch, basically.
But it's so good, honestly. This is great. So yeah, to kind of reiterate the kind of the three. Kind of, obviously you've got like the benefits of this, or not the benefits really, but the markets, like you say, is kind of like the performance and the sports performance. Then you've got the kind of the health and longevity and people who are dealing with maybe medical conditions. And then you've got the kind of specific acute injuries or injury rehab. And like you said, you thought that the majority of the business was possibly going to come through sort of sports performance and athletes, but actually the vast majority is coming through like people who are interested in improving their health, dealing with medical conditions, sorting out injuries, and just trying to feel better, really.
Yeah, people are looking for an alternative approach now. I think there's a lot of people are finally starting to question all the drugs they're being given. To be honest, that's a lot of it. People are coming in and like, I've had this condition for this amount of time, and the drugs every year I'm taking I keep having to get stronger because I'm building up resilience to the previous ones. But every time they come with an increased amount of side effects, and actually it's not really helping that much. And I'm not here saying, guys, stop taking what your doctor's giving you, obviously. But people are bored of it, and they're looking for a more alternative, sustainable approach that's not putting loads of stuff into their system. And as well, like I said before, NHS wait lists are a killer. Especially at the moment. So people are looking at alternatives, and we're here.
Yeah, excellent. No, it's so good. And one thing that's really stuck out for me from what we've talked about in the last hour is that, like you said, all these, although they're kind of technological and they're scientific and they're science-based therapies, they're basically sort of supercharging what we get from nature, which I think was really interesting. You know, like you say, increased oxygen, exposure to extreme cold, and like you said, the different types of light that we naturally get from the sun, but you're just kind of harnessing them and kind of supercharging them, and which I think is really, really interesting. So I think that's a really interesting perspective, which I hadn't really thought about before.
I like talking about it because there's a big fear at the moment about the way technology is going, and it's nice to explain to some people how, just to remind them that there are some actually great ways that we are using technology still. And it's not all just going in a scary direction. It's also, there's some other stuff that is going in a really cool direction where it's only going to benefit us.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant.
I was on a thing once. I was a member of this group, and it was with Brian Grasso, and he knows a lot of people. And he went to somewhere, and there was a guy who came on who was an AI specialist. And you know how you got people who are like, I'm an AI specialist. I know everything about AI. I've learned it all in the last 20 minutes while it was here. It's like, yeah, whatever. But this guy, like, he advises governments and all that sort of stuff. And he was basically saying, you know, any new technology, people are scared of it because they immediately think about how are people going to use this for bad. But it's 99% used for good, all of it. So like that, this is what Theo's saying, you know what I mean? It's like, it feels new to people, but this has been around a lot and it's been researched already. It's just not very well known. So people can go and Google it and find out what's going on and then come and see you. So I think it's brilliant.
Exactly. Yeah,
So you
exactly.
say it can be used for bad, like in James Bond, License to Kill.
Yeah, that's one film that that you can't even remember that scene. So if James can't remember it, like, you know.
Dear me. Anyway, I'll tell you what, we'll start to wrap up there, Theo. That's been really, really interesting. And thank you so much for coming on. And like I say, I've mentioned you the last couple of episodes, and I'm really glad that we got to catch up with you. And I think it's really cool the way you're sitting there with the chamber there. That is really, really good. So I mean, like I mentioned, I mean, on Instagram, you are at ultrawellness.uk on Instagram. And where are you? If people are, I mean, obviously, if people are in or around Essex, you know, you're real central. You're literally only 30 minutes outside London as well. If people are kind of between Essex and London or surrounding counties, you're very accessible. So if people are kind of local to you and want to find out more and possibly come down and have some of these treatments, what's the best place for people to go? Is it for them to start following you on Instagram? What do you want people to do?
Yeah, go and check out the Instagram. There's a lot of stuff on there, like visual stuff where you can take a look at the therapies. Also go to our website. It's super descriptive. Same again, it's just ultrawellness.uk. Tells you all you need to know about the therapies and sends you in the right direction. And if you want to come and pop down, we're just by the station, literally 30-second walk down Victoria Road from Chelmsford station. So yeah, come and say hello. Everyone here is super friendly. My staff are amazing. So come and say hello. Happy for a chat.
Excellent. And if you are like somewhere else in the world and, you know, you're not local and you're not going to come down, still check out and still give them a follow on Instagram, because you'll get a good feel about what you're looking for and the kind of things that you might see if you find somewhere local to you. That was interesting, Pete, wasn't it?
Well, I've just given him a follow.
Give him a follow. Good. Okay.
Cheers, Pete.
Brilliant. Honestly, thank you so much, Theo. That was really, really interesting. So, yeah,
it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, definitely go and check out Ultra Wellness. And like I say, we have a lot of people on here and it's their first podcast on. And that was, that was really, really good. That was brilliant. I think, you know, the way you kind of presented the things and your knowledge, but the way, obviously, like I said at the start, it just explained it in such an accessible way for people. Hopefully that's piqued a lot of people's interests. And yeah, I really hope that, you know, over the next, months and years, the business, continues to grow and I'll be down. I'll probably see you in the next few days anyway. So yeah, thank you so much. So thank you everybody for watching, listening. Please do share, like, subscribe. If you don't subscribe yet to us on YouTube, do that. And we are trying to get our reviews up on Apple Podcasts. So go to Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review and write us a review. And then we will read out your review on the podcast and we will send you out like Health Oddity, you know, t-shirt, sweater, hoodie, whatever you want merchandise wise, we'll send that out to you. And also, if you can, on Spotify, give us a 5-star review on Spotify if you're listening on there. We will be back next week for episode 271. We will be joined by Mel Anderson in episode 271, talking all about kind of health, fitness, wellness for women, certainly kind of around the menopause and things like that as well. So women maybe 40s, 50s, loads of stuff we're going to talk to Mel about. So that'll be episode 271. But until then, thank you very much, Theo.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. Cheers, guys.
Excellent. Thank you, Peter Land.
You're welcome.
Brilliant. And we will see you next week for episode 271. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Health Odyssey with Peter Land and James St. Pierre. To get your regular fix of hype-free health, you can subscribe and leave a review wherever you get your favorite podcasts. You can find out more on today's and other topics at healthodyssey.com or find us on Facebook or Instagram by searching for Health Odyssey.